Alright guys, well, I'm back today with a rifle that ever since I saw it released, I knew I had to get one out to the channel and honestly add it to my personal collection for a long-term evaluation. What we are looking at is the Ruger American Rifle Generation number 2, and this is the ranch configuration chambered in 300 Blackout. Now there's a few different series of this, like the Standard, the Ranch, and the Predator, and most of those have to do with a lot of the barrel lengths, calibers, action lengths, and Cerakote finishes, but they all feature a lot of the same basic specs and features, so if you're looking at one of those other versions, you can extrapolate a little bit about what I'm talking about in this review for those particular models, but this was the one that I wanted, and I think this one is the one that most people want because it seems to be sold out everywhere. Now, I actually got in contact with Ruger. They sent this out to the channel. I don't have to send it back, so a huge shout out to them, and also a huge shout out to AAC Ammo for sending over the ammo to help make this video. We actually tried a wide variety of ammo through this Ruger American, and I wanted to try a lot, including supersonic and subsonic, to see how it performed down at the range because this was the first time behind a new platform like this. Now, I was a huge fan of the Ruger American Gen 1 and owned two of those, both in 300 Blackout and 7.62x39, and they've been working out great. Now, a lot of times when they came from the factory, you got the standard stock with one of the internal box mags that you could drop out and load 3 or 4 rounds in. But what I really loved is when the Ruger American lineup started expanding into other mag capacities and other mag options. For instance, the Ruger 7.62x39 Generation 1 that I had actually takes Mini 30 mags, and some of the Generation 1s actually took AR mags, so you could get different stock systems. But right out of the gate, this Generation 2 Ranch in 300 Blackout accepts AR mags with the different mag drop button, which is really cool. It also has some updates to the barrel, the stock, as well as the action and bolt. So let's dig into it, and we'll start at the front and work our way to the back. Now, this rifle came stock, as you see here, with a pepper muzzle brake, but we've got a chemo muzzle device on the end right here, and that thread pitch is 5/8 by 24. Now, this particular one is, again, the 300 Blackout, so your mileage may vary on barrel lengths depending on what caliber you're looking at, but this guy right here actually has a 16.1-inch barrel, which is perfect for what I want, a very small and compact, nimble and quiet rig for hunting applications or basic tactical shooting. Now, this is a cold hammer forged barrel, so it is going to last you a lifetime. It's spiral fluted for cooling and weight removal, as well as Cerakoted for corrosion resistance. So a good hunting rig, if you're in the weather, you're getting it wet, you're not going to have to worry about that. Now, that barrel is mounted to the action, and the action actually has some really nice bedding that Ruger is doing in their Generation 2 rifles. So a very solid and accurate setup. We will talk about the accuracy performance with some different loads at the actual review part of the reliability section of this review. Now, the stock itself is very comfortable and ergonomic, and it's probably one of the nicest, what I would say, like high value rifle stocks on the market right now. There's a lot of high value rifles out there and they utilize different stock technology, but this splatter effect actually gives you some nice texture. There's really good contouring up at the front if you were freehand shooting this without any type of rest. You've got that standard sling swivel at the front to attach a sling swivel bipod, and what we are looking at here is one of the new mid-10 ones. And as we move along back, you actually have the integrated mag release into the bottom here. And don't worry, YouTube, this is a 20-round mag, and yes, it's a 20-round PMag dedicated for 300 Blackout, but this will also take the 5.56 mags and run 5.56 mags with the 300 Blackout in the mag. So you have a wide variety of options. Now, the mag drop button is very intuitive, very similar to an AR, and you are only limited by the type of AR mag you can find. But here on YouTube, they do not allow 30, so we are just sticking with the standard 20. Now, it ships with the 10-round mag, and they work out great. We've actually had no feed issues whatsoever. I've tried other mag-fed rifles in the past, not from the company Ruger, but from some other companies like Mossberg, and occasionally I would have feed issues. I did not run into feed issues, and I put a lot of rounds through this, even to go as far as just cycling rounds through with different mags. But honestly, I just exclusively run the 20 round PMags for YouTube. These are very reasonably priced, so there's no reason just to not to grab a bunch of them if you were interested in something like this with like a mid-cap mag. You can also drop that down to the 10 or even 5 rounds if you were looking this for hunting applications. Now, when we start getting into the bolt and the action, we start seeing some improvements as well. Now, a lot of this is going to be similar to the standard Ruger, but a lot of this is going to be updated as well. So let's talk about some of those positives and negatives. Now, when we are looking at the action itself, you've got a really nice smooth action. You also have a removable bolt knob that you can swap out with a more tactical bolt knob if you feel like doing that. Also attached to that action is going to be the Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, and it's adjustable between 3 and 5 pounds, and it's a pretty decent trigger out of the box, but it's definitely like a hunting trigger. You are not getting like a featherlight trigger out of the box, but again, you can adjust it down to that 3.5 pound setting. It's got that little trigger bar right here for a safety, so if it drops or falls out of a deer stand, you don't have to worry about the rifle just going off. We've got a lot of safeties built in here. And then speaking of safeties, we got a very intuitive safety on the back. Now, this does have what I would consider a last round bolt hold open in the sense that the bolt won't go closed on an empty round, which is really convenient, and it lets you know you're empty rather than like chambering something of nothing like air and then pulling the trigger and getting a click. Nothing's more frustrating than that, like on a hunt if you're running around. So it lets you know that right there. But once you've got that cocked, you can actually slide it up and you're in the fire position and you'll see red. You can slide it in the center portion, which is just the safety itself, and then you can actually slide it to the rear and lock the bolt closed, which is convenient as well. And with one simple slide, a very ergonomic and intuitive slide of the thumb, which works out great when you're gripping the rifle, it's just very convenient. And that's the thing about this rifle. Everything has been well thought out. It may not be the fanciest rifle in the market. It may not be the most expensive rifle in the market, but it works. It works incredibly well. It's reliable. It's intuitive. I mean, everything from when you're gripping the rifle to just reaching up and dropping the mag. Everything from just the simple thumb tang safety right here, the ergonomics of the grip, the feel of the stock, the cheek riser built in, the rubberized butt pad, the sling swivel in the back. I mean, you're getting a lot for your money with this rifle. And I love everything about it. Really, the only thing is this is going to be a higher MSRP than what we were looking at before. Ruger didn't keep the same MSRP because Ruger didn't keep the same rifle. They've upgraded different components along the way, and I feel like they're worth every single penny. And the MSRP on this guy is right around $729, but you know how it is. Street price is going to be a lot less. You'll just kind of have to look around. Now, I do want to talk about the accuracy performance of this rifle because it is a brand new rifle, and I wanted to try out that accuracy. Now, I set up at 50 yards with subsonic ammo and supersonic ammo to get just a baseline accuracy for sighting this rifle in before we moved it back to 100. And it was like same hole accurate, like just stacking them on top of each other. So I knew right off the bat I had something good. And a lot of times with subsonic ammo, you may only be hunting between, 40 to 100 yards. So you can kind of sight in with what you need to do for your particular application with subs for different hunts. So I stretched it back to 100 yards, ran 125 grain AAC 300 blackout and 150 grain AAC 300 blackout, all supersonic. And this was shooting right at about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches groups. No issues whatsoever. And sometimes I could tighten it up, but I was not really in some type of precision rifle rest. I was just on a bipod on top of a hill laying in the grass. But actually what was surprising was I ran some of this subsonic stuff at 100 yards and got a couple of groups like right at 1 inch or a touch under. So definitely a rifle capable of 1 MOA easy. I'm not sure if there is a accuracy guarantee on this rifle, but it is plenty accurate. It is a little jack driver, and as it heated up, as it ran, we didn't see any degradations of accuracy. Put a can on the end of it again, didn't see any degradations of accuracy. It was just a very accurate rifle. Now, for me, I have other precision chassis rifles to take out to 1,000 yards. That's what this 300 Blackout is not designed to do. That for me, it's primarily going to be running subsonic ammo and occasionally supersonic ammo if I were to ever take it hunting. But the subs is where it shines. It's a closed bolt action with that Dead Air Sandman X, the new Dead Air can on the end of it. This thing is like movie silent and quiet, with a primary arms LPVO 1 to 6 on the top, specifically set up for 300 Blackout. The AAC subsonic ammo and the Dead Air Sandman X on the end of it. This is just like the perfect little nimble bolt action 300 Blackout rifle. I love it. I think you will too. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Ruger, and thanks to AAC for sending out the ammo. Have a good one.